So EA just got bought by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, among other parties, in what is said to be the biggest leveraged buyout in history. And I know a lot of you are not only curious but worried about what comes with that. And while I'm not exactly a fan of what's happened, today I'll be putting on my thinking cap and give you my take on what I think this means for the future. But before I do that, I just want to remind you that if you want to support your favorite YouTuber on the Citadel, then head on over to my Patreon. With your support of a measly $5 a month, not only will you be saving me and my girlfriend from the whims of YouTube's ever-changing rules, you'll of course also unlock exclusive content only available on Patreon. Right now I'm trying to upload there once or twice a week, and there's definitely much more to come. Link is down in the pinned comment below. Now, let's dive headfirst into this shit show. So, okay, PIF, which is Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, is like a big piggy bank for Saudi Arabia. They have, as I've written here, around 900 billion to play around with. And what they do to explain PIF is that they are essentially, as I said here, like a piggy bank for Saudi Arabia. They don't deal with oil, they deal with entertainment, sports, stuff like this, to make money on the side next to the oil. Okay, that is essentially who they are, what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a foot into the gaming market, to the entertainment market, because once the oil inevitably runs out, they gotta have money somewhere else. They gotta have investment somewhere, right? So they're trying to make a mark. They're trying to get in here into the Western world and, hey, we like games too, and some people apparently that are at the top of this thing are actually gamers, but they're like sports gamers, they're sports fans, right? So think like big Ronaldo fans, essentially. Next point. At the same time, they're a self-conscious landlord that cares about image and money. That is very important because imagine EA, as I've written here, being the building they buy and every room is a studio like Bioware. They expect you to pay rent on time, or in this case, make them money. So you want Bioware to be able to convince PIF that they're gonna make money. They need to see proof that you can still make money somehow. And I think EA has probably proven that or shown that to PIF that at least, with Bioware, there is Mass Effect that has tremendous potential. There's a TV show in the works and that probably wouldn't have happened. And I don't think they're gonna just, shut that down because they do want a in the gaming market. They're not just gonna, oh, we're gonna shut this stuff down because we don't like it. That's not how they work, okay? So let's take it easy, okay? Let's take it easy, okay? Stay with me, stay with me. They're very concerned about ROI. So ROI is return on investment, which is literally the only thing EA had in mind when they bought Bioware. So they're essentially in the same situation with EA that EA was in Bioware back in the day. It's just that obvious. It's that simple. They just want a return on their investment. They want money. They want to make a lot of money. But again, let's not forget that they want a foot in the door in the Western world, in the gaming market. That means that they're probably not going to be too disruptive because as far as I know, they haven't been too disruptive in some of the media that they've been, investing in. Next point, okay? I'm going to rattle these off, so hang with me, okay? Bear with me. PIF doesn't step in directly and usually lets studios do their thing as long as it's likely to make them a bunch of money. That's the next point. However, if there's a chance at losing face or getting embarrassed, they're probably going to shut that shit down. So that's also a possibility. So if it's another Veilguard situation we have on our hands with the next Mass Effect, you can probably expect it to be shut down. Probably not, but they're probably going to be very careful with that, you gotta prove to them that, you're worth having, essentially. Okay, so as far as I know, they don't ban inclusivity outright because that is a concern a lot of people have been discussing, but we can probably expect regional censorship. What that means is that there's going to be censorship probably in the Middle East, like they, usually do over there. So yeah, that's pretty much a guarantee as I've written here. So, regional censorship, that kind of deal, it's not really that unusual, to be honest. Sports like FIFA are their biggest moneymakers, and EA and PIF will most likely squeeze as much as they they can from these franchises, not niche RPGs like Mass Effect. I don't think they will, because there is so much more earning potential in other games. Sims, for example, has much more return investment than like Mass Effect. Like Mass Effect, you guys can imagine that like a passion project, right? It's not really, I gotta get over this thing. I gotta move myself here. Mass Effect is more like a niche passion thing for like EA. Let's say that EA is like a content creator like me. Like Mass Effect is like a passion thing. It's not really something that they expect too much money from, but they still, and let's not forget that EA has been wanting to have like this big flagship RPG in their roster, and Mass Effect, I think, is their foot in. So again, let's not forget that, right? They have to, like, they want to have a foot in the door with the RPG franchise, like the niche RPG side, because they don't have anything other than Mass Effect now, or even Dragon Age. I hope I'm managing to calm you guys down, because I think it's necessary. The biggest problem, I think, is that this is a leveraged buyout, which Jason Schreier brought up, meaning EA is now $20 billion in debt to PIF, and they have to generate that money back, preferably quickly. And this brings us to the next point. This could mean bigger cuts, more layoffs, more AI, and so on. Essentially what EA has been doing all along. So really nothing new there, but it's just probably going to be a bigger push if we're being realistic towards that stuff. So if you don't like that, then you're probably going to hate it. On the other hand, long term, EA could be more stable economically. Short term, probably more layoffs. We can expect probably more studios to get shut down. Hopefully not Bioware. Hopefully not Mass Effect, because we still want to see what happens with Mass Effect rights. Another concern is that while they probably won't ban sex scenes and spicy stuff like that, they're probably going to soft push for stuff like PG-13 to make the game as broad and PG as possible. Because again, guys, they want a return on their investment. And that brings me to this point, which is my final point. Hopefully they've been watching the success of Baldur's Gate 3 and realized that letting it be NSFW as possible is going to make them the most money in the long run. So that's my take on it, and you know, at least hopefully they let it be, because that made a lot of money, for example, Baldur's Gate 3. But like there's a lot of factors here. I just don't think it's that easy to say that, oh, it's gonna get shut down. Oh, Mass Effect is cooked. Everything is, it's over. It's over. I don't think that, but possibly what we can expect is that there might be a serious milquetoast-esque ingredient to Mass Effect. I really hope not. God damn it, PIF, if you're watching this, don't you fucking dare. Make sure this game blows everybody's minds. Go the Baldur's Gate 3 route. Don't you start censoring shit. Just let it be. That's how you make money, PIF. Don't start messing with this thing. Don't. Okay. I don't think they will. I don't think they will. But, you know, who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Middle Eastern own a lot of Western companies, and they haven't changed anything in them, not even management, so don't worry much, said a Middle Eastern. The thing is, I've been doing some research over these past few days, and I do think that, you know, as much as I dislike the idea of this because of various reasons, like when you just look at Mass Effect, when you just look at what's probably going to happen, it's probably not going to be that big of a change. The worst thing is what Jason Schreier brought up, right? That there's a possibility that they might start laying people off. And that might mean that we're going to get an even smaller team that's working on Mass Effect. Or, you know, worst case scenario, that they're gonna just shut Bioware down. I don't think they are gonna do that, because still they do want a wide portfolio, and Mass Effect is currently the only franchise that is alive in EA's portfolio that is still an RPG. So the thing is, I don't think they want to get rid of that. And they have, especially EA, I've talked about before, that they want to keep like that foot in the door, as I mentioned before. They are not going to just quit Mass Effect, the sole RPG essentially that they have right now. I know they have Dragon Age as well, but Dragon Age, let's be fair here, is absolutely dead in the water. After Veilguard, they're not going to do anything with Dragon Age for quite a while. They're going to have to pull Mass Effect off first, and if they can make a really good Mass Effect game, then perhaps Dragon Age has a chance to come back. But for now, all bets are off. It's all on Mass Effect. So here's the thing, I don't think they're gonna risk just getting rid of their last card in the RPG book. Yeah, I just doubt it, just what I think about it, I just doubt that they would. You might say that I'm coping, but I'm just trying to look at the facts here, like how much actually makes sense for them to shutting down and stuff like that. I don't think it makes sense for them to shut this down because, again, this is an investment company, guys, or an investment fund. They want as much diversification as they possibly can. They need to diversify their income, and the best way to do that is to do that across a variety of genres. And Mass Effect is like the flagship RPG of Bioware, of EA, I would say. So, I mean, it would just be stupid, really, to get rid of it.